Hello and welcome to today's topic. We're talking about constructing tables of values. So your goal today, I want you to be able to construct a table of values using a given relationship. So you may have done this in the past, so if you have, this is going to be a review. For those that struggled with it, you get another chance to kind of see a different explanation here. So what is a table of values? Table of values. A table of values is a collection of coordinates. Okay, so what you were working with yesterday, the coordinates, we're still working with them today. And basically what we're doing is if you have a whole bunch, so for example, if I gave you -3, 5 is a coordinate, then I gave you 2, 6 as a coordinate, then maybe 5, 8, and maybe one more, 2, 7. All right, so there is a bunch of coordinates. Now, you and I, we got to agree on this. This is a little bit messy, the way it's written. Okay, very complicated. You have a lot of brackets. You got commas everywhere. It's absolute disaster. So when you have a whole bunch of coordinates, we can more efficiently write it as a table of values. So what the table of values looks like is this. I'm going to put, it's a T-chart. Okay, I'm pretty sure that's what you come through being introduced. We create a T-chart. So maybe I'll put that up there as well. It's a collection of coordinates, but it's also, table of values is also a T-chart. So maybe some people are going, I know what this is. So we put all our X's in this column, and we put our Y's in this column. So the first one, I'm looking over here, follow the dot. Here we go. -3, 5. The X coordinate is -3. The Y coordinate is 5. Continuing on my way. 2, 6, 2, 6, 5, 8, 5, 8, and 2, 7 in there. Now, isn't that a much, much nicer or much neater way to write a whole bunch of coordinates? Because this, to me, when I look at that, I'm thinking that's a sloppy mess. All right, I call it a dog's breakfast. All right, so much, much nicer being able to use a T-chart. All right, and that's all we're doing. We're just creating T-charts. Now, the other word in there that might have caused you a little bit of concern is the word relationship. So what is a relationship? A relationship is simply a rule that tells you what one value is, and that's y, when you know the other value. I know that's still a little bit wordy, but that's what it is. It's just a rule. It just tells you, hey, this is the relationship when this value is this. So what's an example? Y equals 2x plus 5. Some of you are going to be saying, oh, that's just an equation. Yeah, another word for relationship in this case is also an equation. So you're just going to put values in. Or y equals -5 plus 3x. Okay, so if we know what the x value is, we can then go ahead and figure out what the y value is. All right, and I'm going to show you the how-to and the steps to that in the next slide. So here we are. Complete the following tables, or complete each of the following tables. Now, in the homework, this is what it's going to look like. They're going to give you your x values. Okay, so they're going to give you a selection of values. Doesn't matter what they are. So for the first one, let's keep it simple: 0, 1, 2, and 3. All right. Then they're going to give you the relationship here. So they're going to say y equals 2x plus 1. All right. So y equals 2x plus 1, and then we want the y value at the end here. So our T-chart, what's happening in here is this is really our rough work, okay? We've added a column inside our T-chart. I'm going to do all my rough work in here. All right, the actual T-chart that I had on the previous page, you see this T-chart only has 2 columns, the x and the y. Well, we're just adding an extra column in here, and we're going to do the rough work in the middle here. So really the values that we're concerned with, that we want, here's the x values. So that's one, and then the y values is the other part. So I'm just going to have the rough work in between. All right. So how does this work? Well, y equals 2x plus 1 is the relationship. I know what the x value is. It's given. It tells me for the first line, x is 0. So I'm going to go ahead and do that calculation. It's going to be 2 times 0 plus 1. Okay? How do I know to do my multiplication? First, hey, come on, no hands up. All right? It's a video, I can't see you anyway. But I'm sure you were going to say, I know to do multiplication first because of bed mass. Okay, so you do your division and multiplication first, then you do your adding and subtracting. All right, so I do my multiplication. So I'm going to do this first. So 2 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1. So 0 plus 1 is 1. The next one, 2. Now my x value is changed. It's now a 1. So I put that in there in the bracket. So now I do my steps here. So multiplication first. 2 times 1 is 2. Plus 1 is 3. There we go. On to the next one. The x value now is a 2. So I do my order of operations. 2 times 2 is 4. Plus 1 is 5. All right, you're going to have a calculator for this. All right, so calm down, no panic attack. You're not going to have to do this in your head. I'm doing it in my head, but I should be able to, right? I mean, I'm supposed to be the teacher here. So if you got to pull out your calculator to follow along, please do so. Pause it, grab the calculator. Punch into the calculator. 2 times 3 equals. Plus 1 equals. And you get a 7. All right, so there you go. So the green is our coordinate, okay? The yellow is just our rough work for this example. All right, on to the next one. Now sometimes they're going to throw twists in. They're going to change the variable. They're going to say n. n is 0, 10, 20, 30. And the relationship is c equals 10 plus, I already did 2. Let's do 5n. 10 plus 5n. So the last column is going to be a C. Guess what? X, Y, and C. You can pick whatever letters you want. It doesn't really matter in the end. It's the same process. All right. So again, the yellow, it's just our rough work. Okay, this is where we're going to do the rough work. It's the outside ones that give us our end coordinate. So the first one, 10 plus my n value. Again, remember, here's my n. I'm going to replace it with what the n value is said to be. In this case, it's a 0. So you pull out your calculator, do your multiplication first. 5 times 0 is 0, plus 10 is 10. All right, next one, 10 plus 5 times 10. And again, that 10 comes from here. All right, that's what my value of n will be. So again, order of operations, do your multiplication. 5 times 10 is 50, plus another 10 gives us 60. Next one, 10 plus. Again, take the 20 and you put it in. Grab the good old calculator. 5 times 20, you should get 100. And another 10 is 110. So the calculator should tell you. And the last one, 10 plus 5 times 30. So 5 times 30 is 150, plus another 10. What did I just say? 150 plus 10, 160. Now I'm starting to get a little bit loopy here. All right, so there you go. It's 160 is your final answer. So the coordinates, again, are the outside terms. So these would be your x coordinates, and these would be your y coordinates if you had to go and graph. The yellow in the middle is just simply that. All right, it's just our rough work. So in the second one here, use a table of values to find the ordered pairs x, y. So what I'll do is I'm going to give you an equation. So I think in the homework it says y equals x minus 6 for, just using the same for x from 0 to 5. Whoops. So that's what the homework's going to look like. So it's exactly like that. So it wants us to find the ordered pairs for all the x values from 0 to 5. So how do you do that? Just create your t-chart. So here's my t-chart. And for us, it's going to be a 3-column t-chart because we're going to have our x. The middle one is where we're going to do our rough work. And then the outside one is the y coordinate. Okay? Now from 0 to 5, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I write out my values. Now I just do the rough work. So x take away, oops, you're probably saying, what's he doing? My x value is what I'm replacing right here. So that means I'll use brackets. So 0 take away 6. So the nice thing here is there's no multiplication. So it's just simply you plug into the calculator. 0 take away 6 is negative 6. 1 take away 6 is negative 5. 2 take away 6 is negative 4. And you're going to have some of you saying, hey, dude, there's a pattern here. Can I just continue the pattern? You bet. If you see a pattern in the first 3 or 4 terms, that pattern's going to continue. It's not going to change all of a sudden. But you got to do at least 3 terms just to double check. All right. I don't know if I have enough. Maybe I go one more. Okay. So there we go. So the rough work, not always necessary, but sometimes needed. Finally, word problem. So for a lot of you, if you need this read to you, if you need the word problems in the homework read, make sure you ask the teacher, ask the EA in the room to help you out. All right, sometimes it's a little bit tricky getting through and reading what the question wants. So Timmy's buying a totally rad skater t-shirts. Timmy's buying totally rad skater t-shirts for his team. See, I'm cool, I'm jiggy, I'm with it. The company tells him the cost to buy the shirts follows this relationship. Now, very rarely is a company actually going to give you the relationship to follow, but in this case they did. C is the total cost, N is the number of shirts. Answer the following. So determine the ordered pair NC, so that's just the XY coordinate, if he decides to buy 20 shirts. So for question A, we know that N is the number of shirts, so N is 20. So the relationship, rather than doing the entire t-chart, we can just do it for one particular coordinate here. Okay, so I replace the N up here. 6N becomes 6 times 20. Now you pull out your calculator. 6 times 20 is 120, plus another 20 is 140. So they want the ordered pair, so therefore 20 was my N value, and C is my 140. Okay, so it's really just the rough work. If you look back to the previous example, there's our rough work. All right, that's all you're doing in this question. B part, determine the ordered pair. If he decides to buy 0 shirts, well, if N equals 0, C would equal 6 times 0 plus 20. So you do your multiplication first. 6 times 0 is 0, plus 20. So you end up with 20. So the coordinate would be 0, 20. C part. Why does he have to pay 20 bucks if he's not buying any shirts? Okay, if you ever go in and buy shirts for a team or you're buying something as a group, sometimes you have to pay a down payment. All right, the company wants a down payment saying, yeah, you need to put this much down if you want to buy this group of shirts. Or if you want to buy this car, I need a down payment. So you have to pay a down payment, so that's money up front. All right, to make sure you're going to follow through. All right, so anytime you have to pay money before getting a product, it's called a down payment. All right, that allows you to do the next part of the homework. If you have any questions, make sure you ask the teacher. Good luck, and we'll see you in the next lesson.